Winter sowing and winter growing. When I just opened the reason I'm doing this video is when I just started the group 2 days ago, a lot of people started commenting about things that were they thought were winter sowing, but they're really winter growing. Like they think anything they're doing out in the winter, growing vegetables in the snow, is the same as winter sowing. It's not. Winter sowing is a very specific method, and I'm going to tell you about that in a second. First, we're going to cover what winter growing is. To me, it has a whole umbrella of things. I am not a winter grower. I haven't been, because it involves all kind of apparatus and things I don't have, like hoop houses or row cover or cold frames. What else? Oh, greenhouses, things like polytunnels, all those kind of things. You have to build them to protect your plants from the snow, and then you grow your vegetables in those. Also, the distinguishing factor is that you're actually growing, winter growers, they're actually growing food to eat right now, to eat this winter. That's not what winter sowing is about. Completely different. So I want you to know the difference because, also before I tell you that, the cold weather crops are things like kale, spinach, onions, garlic, carrots, bok choy, arugula, Brussels sprouts, things that you can look up online easily and find out what are cold weather crops. Those are the kind of things people are growing in the cold winter growing method. Okay. Before I jump to winter sowing, back in the group, people are thinking that they're anything that they do in the snow is the same thing as winter sowing, but it's not. So now let me tell you about winter sowing. First off, I do have a whole ton of videos on it. Well, I got about 25 videos just on the technique out of the 90 videos I have in gardening. So you can go to my winter sowing playlist on my YouTube channel, which I'll also have a link for below. And I'm Juicing Gardener on YouTube, so you can just sit and push play on the playlist and watch all 25 of them in a row if you want, or do a search for whatever you're looking for. So the technique was developed, I don't know how many years ago, by a woman named Trudy Davidoff, and she named it winter sowing. So I stumbled onto winter sowing, this will be my third year, 3 years ago. And it was my first year gardening. In my whole, I've gardened one or two other years of my life, but just piddled around with this. It was my first year of serious gardening. What I started doing was juicing. And for just health reasons. And I needed a ton of produce. It's really expensive to get juice, produce for juice. So I thought, well, I'm going to grow some carrots and celery and cucumbers and all that. So I had the first year 300 plus seedlings in my living room. I about got kicked out of the house by my sweetheart, but I didn't. I was very neat with them, and I had to move them from the dining room table to the living room table. And then as they grew, I moved them out to my sunroom here, which is where I am right now. And they worked out great. I mean, they grew fantastic. I didn't have any grow lights at that time. They all were really leggy, but they grew anyway. And I thought it was fun. I had a fantastic first year, but then I stumbled onto winter sowing, and I heard about this technique, which is how to grow seedlings in cold weather. I'm in Ohio, very cold, feet of snow, below zero temperatures. And I thought, well, this sounds interesting. You can actually put your seedlings in soil and put them out in the snow, forget about them for 2 or 3 months, and then you have seedlings. Because here, I do all organic gardening, and I know a lot of you don't, and a lot of you are against it, or don't understand it, or don't know about it. That's okay. This is not about organic gardening. You can do it regular or organic. But I buy organic seedlings here, some of them, because I had, different varieties I wanted that I couldn't grow. And they're like $4 to $5 each. And I've got over 150 containers, a couple raised beds. I mean, that gets really expensive. So I thought, this sounds good. It's almost free food. So that's how I started. I started with 69 containers my first year, and I did 152 containers last year. And you have a lot of choices about how you can grow vegetables and fruits and herbs if this is your first time. You can buy seedlings. You can get a grow lamp in your house, which there's a lot of reasons why you don't want to do that. But I mean, it's still fun. It's expensive, and it takes up a lot of space. You can direct sow, which is the name of what it means to just put your seeds in the soil and watch them grow. You can do the paper towel method, which is you can germinate them on a wet paper towel, then take the little squiggly sprouts and put them in soil. And then you can winter grow and you can winter sow. And there's probably many other ways, but those are the main ways you can start. So I did my first year of growing seedlings, and now I'm on to winter sowing, and that's like my favorite. I do like 95% winter sowing. So what can you do with winter sowing? You can, what do you grow with it? Fruits, vegetables, herbs, trees, shrubs, and flowers. Now, the Facebook group is only going to be about the first 3, fruits, vegetables, and herbs. I only do winter sowing of food. And that's going to be the whole focus of the group, not flowers, trees, and shrubs. Maybe fruit trees if I get into those, because that's food, but anything related to food. So if you're on the Facebook group, as much as it's hard for me because a lot of you are awesome flower people, we're not going to post on flowers because it just makes the group too scattered and too diffuse. And so I want to keep it really focused on food growing, winter sowing. So how do you winter sow? You just need to buy 2 things and get 1 thing for free. The 2 things you have to buy is potting soil and duct tape. And get a good duct tape, a heavy duty one. I've gotten cheap ones before and they come off during the end of the winter. And then the free thing is containers. And I've got a whole bunch of videos on how to set this all up, what kind of containers to get. But basically free recycled milk jugs, juice jugs, salad bins, takeout containers, pop bottles, anything that is clear. I keep looking, I don't want to look at myself, I want to look at you. Anything that's clear plastic or slightly opaque white. You don't want to go with like the thick white or yellow milk jugs, just clear stuff. So the sun can get in and cause photosynthesis. And you're going to cut them open, put the soil in, put the seeds, soak the soil, put the seeds in, close it back up and duct tape it. And then you're going to go sit them outside, say a prayer, and in a couple months, well, actually you'll be running out every day looking and looking and looking to see down the bottles because the tops are open, how they're doing. But in a couple months, you get these gorgeous, healthy, beautiful, hardened, which means ready for the weather, seedlings for free. You save hundreds of dollars. You can feed your family for free. Then, if you're smart enough to go and save your seeds, which I have a bunch of videos on, I'm a huge seed saver, you will save seed and have free food year after year after year forever. So that's how you do it. What can you plant? What kind of foods? In winter sowing, like with winter growing, there's only cold weather crops that you can put in. With winter sowing, you can grow seedlings of cold weather and warm weather. Almost everything. A lot of people will say you can't do carrots. I did carrots this year. They came out great. You can't do celery. I did celery. It came out fantastic, like 2 feet tall, Utah tall celery. The only things I wouldn't do are lettuces because they don't take that long. You can just throw seeds in and in 2 or 3 weeks have lettuce. Radishes I wouldn't do. They're super fast too. Potatoes and yams, I can't imagine that you would want to start them in a container because it's not deep enough. But someone correct me. If you have done potatoes, yams, I've done spring onions, but I haven't done big bulb onions, or lettuces and radishes. If you've winter sown them, go down in the comment section and let everybody know, please, and let me know. And if I didn't name it, you name something of fruit and vegetable and herb that you can't winter sow, because I don't know much. I'm putting everything. Tomatoes, fantastic. Cucumbers, zucchini, all kinds of squash. I haven't done strawberries yet. I've only done those by roots. They're teeny little seeds. I don't know about those. But anyway, we're all going to learn together. It's only my 3rd year. This is a lifetime fun thing to do. So let me see what else I had in my notes here. I think, let me look right here. I think that's about it. So now you got the big picture. So for those of you who are in our Facebook group, you know, we're not, if I ever sneak over and ask you, hey, we're not posting about flowers, or we're not posting about this or that, because we're trying to keep it super focused, because we're going to have a lot more success if we as a group, as a family, as a community are, you know, little winter sowing warriors, and we're sharing it with the world, sharing it with our friends and neighbors, because a lot of people would love to save a couple $100s a month on food, on produce, and that's what we're doing. If not, more than that, just feeding yourself for the whole, you know, year round. So we're not going to be taking the seedlings during the winter. We're going to be just growing them during the winter. And you start mostly in, that's what I wanted to tell you. A lot of debate about when to start, how to start, but just let me give you the thumbnail rule. The rule of thumb is some people start late December. I think that's a little too early. January, February, and early March, depending on where you live and what your fruit and vegetable is. And you're going to have to do some trial and error on your own. Don't just, you know, have it not work the first year and say, oh, winter sowing doesn't work. It's going to work. It works for everybody. But, you know, I had some failures. You're going to have about maybe a quarter, 3/4 of them work and a quarter of them are just going to die and not make it. So don't get in a panic or think you did anything wrong. It's just trial and error, and have fun with it. It's like, I couldn't believe celery came up, and it was just these little teeny sprigs, and I planted them in my containers, which you can do container celery. And like I said, I got these 2 feet tall celeries. I only did 4 of them. So next year I'm going to do a lot more carrots. I'm getting ready to do another video. I've got about 7-8 buckets of carrots because they're great for juicing. So anyway, I guess I could talk for a really long time too. It's great to be back face to face on video. You will be seeing a bit more of me face to face because I have so many people now that want to know the details, and it's a little easier to just do this than try and teach it to you over the vegetables and over the soil pots. So anyway, don't forget to go to the Facebook group. Oh, if you're not a subscriber on my YouTube channel, definitely get yourself a YouTube channel if you don't have one. It's free. It's easy. That way you can comment, you can click like, and you can subscribe if you have your own YouTube channel. You don't have to do a thing with it. The world doesn't need to know you're there. A lot of people just have a YouTube channel just so they can go on people's channels. So make sure you subscribe to that, the YouTube channel of Juicing Gardener. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for being in the Facebook group, for being in my YouTube channel, being a viewer, and mostly sharing this whole experience with me. I'm sending you much love from my garden to you. See you next time. Bye-bye.